And we're live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to hit the record button on this one. Make sure our audio comes out. K3 podcast on Spotify, which we're not doing it at this stage, but also if the audio is playing up on YouTube, I can sub it in there later and sync it up with the vision. And this is only a 5-game pre-origin round, but we're going to go over them as quickly as possible and pick out some value tips for us. We were so unlucky last week with so many disallowed tries against our tips, and we asked the referees to let the game flow a little bit more in this round, especially before Origin. I hope that Origin is not destroyed by the bunker and some shocking decisions from the referee. Let's hope that Casey Badger is not in the bunker for the Origin, nor in some of these games, but I'm sure she will be. We're sick of hearing your voice, Casey. Quiet. We don't want to hear your entire explanation. Just tell us your decision. But I'm sure she loves hearing herself. But let's get on to the first game out of the 5, and it's tonight. Wet weather again, thanks to all the chemtrails in the sky. And if you're not looking at them, you're not opening your eyes, you're not looking at when we do have a blue sky. They're not contrails. Contrails only last for a little short space. But anyway, let's not go down that path. Keep a positive note and make sure that you've got your notebook. If you can't write these bankers down and your value tips and parlays here for mainly the 2-leg parlays and 3-leg at the last effort, we'll maybe have 3. Most of the times I'll have 4 or 5 with the standouts, first and second banker, mainly 2-leg parlays, and then sometimes I'll have 3-legged parlays just to get that extra value. So really you want 1 or 2 of your bankers to get up, and then you've got the rest of the game to look forward to. I've noticed a lot of the times if I don't, or if here on EPOR, if we don't get that at least one of the legs out of the 5 and 6 possible selections, if we don't get one of them, it's not usually going to turn around. Though a couple of times Canterbury has come back from the death and saved our bacon, and a couple of sides have done that, including the Dolphins. But let's get on to this match. It is the Dolphins and the Bulldogs, and it's at Accor Stadium. Not a great hunting ground for Canterbury or Parramatta, but let's get on to this first match. It's at 7:50 tonight, and then there'll be, looking at that, there'll be a Friday match, 2 Saturday matches, and the final game is on Sunday. Gold Coast Rabbitohs, Broncos, Cowboys, Storm, Dragons, and West Tigers all with the bye. And we're looking so much forward to the Origin on Wednesday. Gotta hope the weather is good up in Brisbane, up in Suncorp. So let's get into this game and we'll have a look at the ins and outs. And of course, there's many outs for Canterbury team lists and ins and outs. Blake Wilson is in. Jack Underhill, never heard him before. Jake Turpin, yeah, we've heard of him. Jonathan Sewer. Josh Curran is back. And it looks like Samuel Hughes is back. Also in for the Dolphins is Junior Tupou, Max Fine, then Oren Keeley is back. Outs, of course, is Tabuai, the Hammer, Tabuai Fado, Tom Gilbert, horrendous injury trying to stop Capewell and reaching out, extending his pec too much, and it tore the pec from the actual bone. Not good. He'll be out for some time. Tom Gilbert, he was a real workhorse animal in defence for his side and captain, so it's a big loss for Queensland's state of origin chances as well. But they've got some great replacements anyway. Also out for the Dogs, of course, is Max King, Kurt Mann, Jacob Kiraz with an injury, Stephen Crichton, and Saluka Fafita is out as well. So let's get on to the match. It looks like Jake Gavarilla has been moved from the centres back to fill in for the Hammer spot. So he's a pretty good defender too. Yes, he's no Hammer, but I think that's a good move from the Dolphins and Wolfie. And just looking at the other lineups here, good to see Kurt Donahoe back. The captain is Falus Kafusi. I think he's going to have a big game here too. He's an absolute beast, running hard onto the ball all the time. So let's spin out and see if we can find some value here as we go to the Bulldogs Dolphins game. It's 140 the Bulldogs and 3-1 head to head for the Dolphins. And we'll go to the anytime try scorer because that's what we're really interested in. Of course, running first on the ladder there is Canterbury with 20 points, a lot further than Dolphins 14th, who should have won a lot more games than what they have. Only 8 points, 4 losses, 7 losses, 4 wins. Last time they played, it was 30-10 to Canterbury in round 24, and that was in 2024, back when Dolphins were trying to survive, but they were tailed up by a full-strength Canterbury side. Now let's go to the first-time try scorer, and it looks here like Blake Wilson at $1.75 is running up the shortest of markets. Out to Jonathan Sewer at $1.80. Marcelo Montoya on the other wing at $1.90. Connor Tracy's coming quite skinny now at $2.20. Asako, the other wing at $2.25. Jack Bostock, $2.25. Geez, they're not giving great odds for these anytime try scorers. Herbie's still $2.50. We can nearly lead out with him, but let's see who else is in the market. Jake Gavarilla at 3-1 at fullback. Luke Smith for the Bulldogs. Lemuelu. I'd love to stand him out as a banker here because I think he's definitely going to score. I really believe he will. But instead, we're going to stand out Josh Curran. This is the time when there's a few injuries and a lot of key players missing. Josh Curran usually stands up. So I'm going to stand him out here as our banker. Josh Curran at 5-1. That's a phenomenal start to our banking. And we're going to chuck in Reed Marnie for our second leg here at 5-1. Already there, we're looking at 25-1 for that first double. As a third try scorer, I'm going to chuck in another Bulldog here at Bailey Hayward at 6.50. Goodness gracious, the value's streaming here. But then we're going to chuck in another value leg for your fourth leg is Connelly Lemuelu. I know he won't get the full match, but I think he's going to have a blitzkrieg game. And we're going to spin it back here to the Dolphins and chuck in Herbie Farnworth for our fifth and sixth leg. Keep on twisting the second and third legs. If I was having extra money, I'd chuck in Bronson Sherry as a late bet as well there in with and mix it up with Herbie Farnworth. But there you go. There's a massive value there with Josh Curran as our banker for the first game. Let's go to the tomorrow's game, which is Parramatta versus Manly. Now, I think this has it been moved out to Gosford, this game? So let me go and have a look at the draw here. It's at CommBank Stadium. Okay, CommBank Stadium. And 274 here, Parramatta. And it's very skinny at $1.46 is the Eagles, coming off a big win over a very ordinary Cowboys side last weekend. So let's have a look at the team list and see who's in and out. We know Jake Trbojevic getting knocked out 3 times in 6 months, fully knocked out. He won't be back for a while, I believe. They really need to look after guys that get totally knocked out like that all the time. And he busts his balls all the time, Jake. But sometimes he just gets his head in the wrong position. And it was a pretty sickening tackle, that one last weekend. But we'll get into the ins and outs with this game. And it looks like Dean Hawkins is back for Parramatta. Joey Lussick, Kilmer Tuolagi, Matt Dury is back. Ronald Volkman. And it looks like Samuel Luzai or Luizu. For Eagles, we have Wackenham is back, Braden Wackenham, Falalo, Clayton Falalo, Jake Arthur. For the Eagles there, Lachlan Croker, Matthew Lodge, Tammy Talao. And outs, of course, is Dale Cherry Evans and Jake Travojevic, as we spoke about. Mitchell Moses, of course, is out with Zach Lomax, who both got a run in the State of Origin. Give me 1 second, folks. This weather is just horrendous, freezing cold. I've been battling a small little head cold and a bit of hay fever, so just excuse me once again. I was okay most of the morning. As soon as I get online, my nose gets itchy as hell. There's a lot of crap floating around in the sky at the moment, and keep warm whatever you do. Had a nice swim this morning at the aquatic centre, and hopefully that keeps us fit for most of the weekend. Let's go to the head-to-head. As I said, 265 on the TAB. The other price I gave you was the sports bet, which had Parramatta a little bit less, and $1.48 for Manly. Last time they met, it was Manly 26 defeating Parramatta 12. And so it could be wet weather again. Just put that into your calculations. 12 points. They're at currently 6th on the ladder, Manly, and 16th Parramatta, even though they had a win recently. Let's have a look here to the first-time try scorer. Jacob Saab brings up the skinniest of odds at $1.75. Lehigh Hopewadi, $1.90. At least you're getting out closer to even money with Tommy Talau at $1.90. Josh Adokar, 2-1. Tommy Dorovic, 2-1. Sean Russell, 2.30. On debut, Joash Papali, 2.30. Tolata Kohler, one of my favourite players, 2.40. Ruben Garrick, 2.75. Fairly good value. Ben Travojevic saved our bacon last weekend because we didn't have any of the other try scorers, and we're waiting on North Queensland to score, and they only got Robert Darby over for a consolation try. Corey Waddell, 5-1. Dean Hawkins, 5.50. A lot of try scorers here that haven't scored this year so far. And Ethan Bullimore, surprisingly, hasn't got over for a while. Let me just use the little tissue here, the blue tissue. 1 second. Oh, goodness. No, the Vicks Vapor up. It's nice, just under your nostrils and underneath your jowls there. Joey Lussick, 10-1. Don't know about that. Nathan Brown, they're all high prices here, the forwards. Dylan Walker. Okay. Kotoga, 4.25. Dylan Brown, 4.25. The thing that I do remember is when Mitch Moses is not there, Dylan Brown gets a little bit lost. He's been playing really well of late, but I wouldn't be using him as a banker this weekend. He might still score, but I think they're going to be a little bit lost without Mitch Moses. There is a player that came over, I think it's a Jack Williams, who had a scorching round last week, and he could be value there. Dury can surprise as well. A lot of these guys have not gone over this year, so we're really going to have to be careful who we're sticking in here. Isaiah Iongi, everyone had him last weekend. Geez, there really isn't great value here, but I'm going to use Tolatoa Kola as our first banker, 240 for Manly. And we're going to stick in Josh Adokar because he's even money, 2-1 for our second leg. I'd love to put in Tommy Talau, but $1.90 is not coming off your two bankers at skinnier odds is not great. Let's go wide again and say Ben Travojevic is the third leg, 325. He saved our bacon last weekend. And then I'm looking for that player. Hopefully he is here. Jermaine Hopgood, Dury, Bullimore, Tavaga, Croker, Brown. There he is, Jack Williams. I want to chuck him in at 350, or 850, sorry. 850. That's going to give us our value for our fourth leg, Jack Williams. And for our fifth leg, I'm going to chuck this in for you, Scotty. Scotty Pearce-McLeod on the Monster Tipping Cup, still leading by one over Peter Connors and one back to myself. Junior Polo, 850. Yes, he hasn't got over, but I think with a lot of the players missing from Manly, he's good value there. You can also, as your sixth leg, you can chuck in one of the shorter price ones in Tommy Talau or Jason Saab, depending if you're tipping Manly or Parramatta. But I'm narrowly tipping Manly here to win. Manly over Parramatta. I just think they're going to be a bit discombobulated without their superstar in Mitchell Moses. So Manly to beat Parramatta there, and I'd be sticking at 1-12. I wouldn't be having anything else. If I was desperate, I'd chuck in Parramatta to beat Manly at 1-12, 1-12 both sides. So there's your tips there for the second game. The first game, of course, I was standing out the Bulldogs to win with all those players. Although they're missing, they've still got some great players in there. Dolphins. Wouldn't be surprised if they caused the boil over. However, they need to really play a hardcore 80 minutes to beat the Bulldogs because they never say die, the Bulldogs, and then they just keep on playing to that system that's brought them so much success over the last year and a half. Penrith here is the next game by the looks of it on the Saturday, Penrith and Newcastle. Penrith's got a shitload of players missing, excuse the French, but let's tap on that and also go back. I think this game has been moved out to Gosford. I'll just double check this. There's one game, the Knights game's at Bathurst, I know that, but I think this one's gone out to Gosford. Carrington Park at Bathurst is the Newcastle game. Combank Stadium, the Parramatta game. Why am I missing something here? Round 12? Yeah, the Saturday match is the Knights versus Panthers. That's right, and it is at Bathurst. Crikey. That's going to be cold. If it stays like this, it could get sleet or a little bit of snow. Out at Bathurst, it gets exceptionally cold. Those players will be wanting to make sure they do the full complement of warm-ups before they take that freezing cold park there at Carrington. 13th, Panthers are running, and 15th, Knights. Knights are heading for the wooden spoon for mine, and I'm a massive fan, but they are awful at the moment. They've put Fletcher Sharp back to the fullback here. Kyle McCarthy's come in to replace Bradman Best, who seems to be injured. He got injured same time State of Origin, pre-State of Origin, with his hammy last year, and then got that run, thank God, in the third game and scored one of the winning tries. and then Moses completed the victory. Okay, Bradley Snyder's in. Cogger is in. Tyson Gamble. God, you know what? I was looking through the reserves here, and although he's not mentioned here, I really am feeling very sorry for Jackson Hastings. I would prefer to have Jackson Hastings at least. I think he's more consistent than Tyson Gamble. Tyson Gamble hasn't had enough games lately. Yes, he broke his nose. Sometimes he tries really hard, but they got some shocking woes in the halves pairing there. I'd even have Jaden Brayley in there. His brother's an outstanding player for Cronulla, but I'd have Jaden Brayley over Tyson Gamble, so I think that's another mistake there. Dylan Lucas, they've still got some pretty good forwards there. They've got a very dumb forward in Kai Pearce Paul. I think he's going to Tigers next year, as far as I know. I know he's off contract, that's for sure. And Adam Elliott, well, when Elliott plays well, all the forwards are playing well. But if Elliott has one of those games where he has the drops, he had one of those games last week, and he's full of potential, but we haven't seen it from any of these players. Felix Crossan's having an ordinary season. Most of them are. Fletcher Hunt, they're going to really target him, I believe. And they've got some good bench players here. They got Luke Simonton, Penrith. They got Austin Diaz, Luton Patea, Jack Cole. That's on the interchange, so I think he'll come on and cause a little bit of some headaches for Newcastle here. And I think either Isaac Tiger and Blaze Talagi, I think both of those guys are going to stand up here. So look at the players that are out for Penrith. Brian Dylan Edwards, Isaiah Yeo, Isaiah Papali'i, Liam Martin, Luke Garner, and Nathan Cleary, of course. The two players missing, of course, for the Knights, Jacob Saifidi and Kalen Ponga, who's got the fullback spot there for Queensland. And I'm glad he did, because although he's playing with a side that has totally lost its hunger this year, he deserved his spot 200%. Okay, let's go to the TAB, see if we can rattle off some money here and some value. Head-to-head, Penrith are $1.48. Newcastle's $2.65. I think it should be Newcastle $5.65 and Penrith $1.10. That's the odds I'd be giving if I was a bookmaker. The last time they met, Newcastle tried valiantly, but Penrith beat them 22-14, and that was at Bluebet Stadium. This time it's at Bathurst, and let's have a look at the anytime try scorer. Paul Alamotti leads the market here at $1.60. Thomas Jenkins $1.90. Jesse McLean $1.90. Dane Laurie, who's taken the fullback position for Penrith, $2.20. James Schiller $2.30. Fletcher Hunt $2.40. I'm just looking to start off one of the leagues with a 5-2 shot, or at least even money. And I'm mainly going to have Penrith, because I think they're going to win either 13 plus would be my first selection, and then 1-12. And I wouldn't be tipping Newcastle at all. The Knights, they're like that this year. They're all over the place. The game is totally discombobulated. Awful. Breaking the hearts of their fans. Okay. Lindsay Smith, I think, is going to have a blitzkrieg game here. Don't know how much time he's going to get, but I'm sure he'll get more time than usual. Mitch Kenny, they've still got great defenders there. I'm just looking here. at some of the reserves and what have you. Let's head back, and I'm going to stand out. I'm going to stand out Blaze Talagi here to score at 275 for Penrith. 275, Blaze Talagi. Fletcher Sharp, I might chuck him in, but leave him to the side for the moment. Let's chuck in Casey McLean, the second at 5-2. And looking at our third leg, I'd like to chuck in Blaze Talagi at 275. Our fourth leg, I'm going to chuck in Dylan Lucas at 350. He's been kind to us in the past, Dylan Lucas, but I'll only just have the one player for the Knights, and we're going to chuck in Lindsay Smith for the fifth leg. Lindsay Smith, and I'm just looking at what price Lindsay is here. He's 5-1, so that's really good value as your fifth leg there. So starting off Penrith at 13 plus, then head down to 1-12 in case they have an off game, but I doubt it. I think Penrith will win easily there at Bathurst. I'd be very surprised if Newcastle lift, especially with Tyson Gamble in there. Okay, the next match on the Saturday is Sydney Roosters versus Cronulla. Sydney Roosters are 3.30, Cronulla $1.34. Let's go to, I think this is the one that's in the country somewhere. Let's go to the NRL website and have a look at that Cronulla game. It is at Gosford, rightio, yep. Up the coast there, heading up the coast at Industry Group Stadium. Industry Group Stadium at Gosford. And it looks like here, head-to-head, 336 for the Roosters and $1.33 Sharks. Could there be a bit of value there in the Roosters? Last time they met, it was Cronulla, pretty high-scoring affair, 38 defeating Roosters 30. That was round 11 in 2024. And before that, they had a cracking game in 2023. That was a one-point field goal to the Roosters, 13-12, but that's really not going to give us much headway here on what we're trying to do. Just looking at the form guide here. Yeah. Of course, the Roosters, I think they should have won that match against the Bulldogs. They just lacked one or two things that didn't quite go their own way in the disgraceful Toya try that should have been a try. Possibly cost them the match, if not going into extra time. Just looking at the team lists here. Looking at the team lists. It's just not updating that team list page. Here we go. James Tedesco is still there, of course. Mark Nawana Takawazi is in there. Nawaka Tanawazi, he's still there after his freakish try last week. Egan Fletcher comes into the 11. Victor Radley's still there in the 13. You got Lalulai on the bench there. Lalulu, and then Taylor Lazalu, Blake Steep, and Nat Butcher also on the interchange bench for the Roosters. Interchange bench for Cronulla, Daniel Atkinson played out of his skin last week. Jesse Colquhoun is also off the bench. Siusafa Talakai, he's one of my favourite players, Talakai. And Hamlin Ueli there is also on the interchange. They've still got a very strong side here, including Adam Fanua-Blake. Blake Brayley's been playing so well lately. Kaolero been scoring every match. Let's go to the try scoring here and see if we can find a bit of value for us. And then we'll finish up with the last game on Sunday and finish up our early program today here on Every point's a winner. So Sydney Roosters, click on that. And Cronulla, 330. So slightly different prices with Sportsbet and TAB. And let's go to the try score again. Very, very depressing conditions here in Sydney at the moment. But if you saw the amount of crap they were dumping up in the sky over the last 2 weeks prior to the week and a half of rain we've had, you wouldn't be surprised why the weather is the way it is. If you just open your mind up a little bit more and do some research for yourself, but we're not going down that path. It's up to you. I wonder why everyone's running around with the sickness and cold. Now, Mark Nwanga, we lost his name again. Mark Nwanda Takanazi is 350, or Mark Nawazi as we call him here. That's pretty good value. Braden Trindle, 290, a little bit skinny. Kennedy skinny there at 260. Kale still value at 230. Dominic Young's finally getting his run at 230. He's probably the best value there. And why don't we head off our bankers with Mark Nawazi? Mark Nawazi here, or Nawakata Nawazi, is 350. We're going to use him as the banker. I'm going to chuck in a big bit of a bolter here for Roosters at 425, Billy Smith. He's due to go over. I think Sandon Smith, we're going to put the two Smiths in there as the third leg. And then the fourth leg, Victor Radley here at 6-1. And the fifth leg, we're heading back to Cronulla here. We have to chuck in Britton Nakora at 250. If you said I could have one or two more bets, I'd have Dominic Young and Kale Era as the sixth leg there. So I would say as a total upset, I'd be tipping Sydney Roosters there at 1-12. 1-12, or both sides at 1-12. If Cronulla wins at 13 plus, well, then everything's gone their way. And it has over the last couple of weeks. Scotty sent us a message here. Overemployment. Okay. Your information. Okay. Someone sent me a message from the office prison. So let's go to the TAB here. And then we'll head to the next match and have a look at the last match, which is the Sunday, the 25th. And then only after that 3 days to Origin, the countdown begins. Warriors coming up at $1.74 and Canberra at 2.10. And that is the Warriors Stadium, I believe. Let's go and have a look at that. At 4:05 on the Sunday, the one match. So I think both teams are going to play well here. This could be a try-scoring fest. It may be tight early, but I think they're both severe attacking sides. They're great, innovative attacking sides. So I think unless Canberra can dominate over there with the home, those little drums going all the time and the massive, massive fans of the Auckland Warriors, I cannot see. It's a Go Media Stadium in Auckland. I cannot see Canberra having too much of an advantage here. But the difference is they're higher up on the ladder. Are they not? Let's have a look at the position standing here. At the moment, and it is the ladder. I think Warriors are nearly second or third, but they're both up there. Let's just have a look at the ladder here. Yeah, Warriors are officially second. That's interesting. But Raiders are 2 points which is one win, really, one win behind the Warriors there in third position. So having that loss against Dogs shoved them back, and that surprise win for the Warriors against the Dolphins there last week has put them in good stead. So this is basically second versus third. Very, very, very interesting. Let's go and see if we can find some value here. You could honestly play any standout you want here. We're just going to go on our pure instinct. Tuivasa Shek's back. Zalesniak is the $1.90 favourite here. Then Tuivasa Shek. Savage at $1.90 scored a treble last week. Tamale went over as usual. Adam Pompey let us down for the second week in a row. Every time I don't have Adam Pompey, he scores. I've had him for the last 2 weeks. He hasn't scored. Zach Hoskins has been playing so well. Looking at the prices here, you're going to get good value if you go into the forwards here. No doubt about it. Trey Mooney, always a good price there. Aaron Clark, any of the big boys. Owen Patty, Canberra, Jamal Fogarty, not your prolific try scorer. Jacob Laban, that hurt us last week. I don't think he'll go over this time. Ethan Strange, I don't want to lead out with him, but I'm very close to putting him in there. Let's lead out with a guy that I think will go over, and I think it's going to be Luke Metcalf. Luke Metcalf at 3-1 there. Here's your banker for the Warriors, Luke Metcalf. Then we're going to go to Chanel Harris Tavita at 375. Good value there. Zach Hosking is our third leg at 425. He's been playing out of his skin lately. And we're always usually so reliant on Hudson Young. Who do we chuck in there as our fourth leg? Really concentrating here. I'm going to chuck in Ethan Strange as the fourth leg. I've got a feeling he's going to do some razzle-dazzle out of dummy half there and go over. And for our fifth leg, I really want to chuck in a mixture between Ali Luatala and Pompey for the Warriors. Lika Halasema would be the sixth or seventh leg at 375, would be my selection to chuck in there as an extra bet into your 2 and 3 leg parlay. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I would think Warriors there holding the ground at one at their home ground. I think we would have them 1-12, the Warriors. But I would not be surprised if Canberra could also cause a boil over and destroy all the Warriors fans in front of them there at the Auckland Stadium. So I would have 1-12. I'd really have both sides 1-12 because that's going to go down to the wire, I believe, that game. I think there's nothing between those two sides. And the fact they're running second and third, a couple of lengths off the leader there, Canterbury Bulldogs, shows you how well they're both going this year. So keep to those numbers. There's a lot of good value there. Go easy. The rain's here. Just remember those games in Sydney. It could be an absolute quagmire. Most of the fields and pitches are pretty good, but you might find with this constant rain and cold, the ball handling's not going to be as good. So keep that in mind and don't get too disappointed. So maybe half your bets and see if we can make up for last week's disaster. It wasn't a total disaster. We got quite a few of the try scorers to get half of our money back, but we still did not have a win here on Every Point's a Winner. Please like and subscribe to keep this channel going. Unfortunately, Scotty was going to do the review program with us, but he couldn't make it last week when 2 or 3 people called in sick. They're spraying the skies all over the place there, from Sydney up to Townsville. So anyway, take care, ladies and gentlemen, and join us here for a preview of the State of Origin on Wednesday, probably Wednesday morning, about mid-morning or lunchtime. Keep an eye on the post and you can check us out there. So like and subscribe, make a few comments, and also share, and see if we can spend $100 this weekend on the 5 matches. That means it's really like $20 to $25 a game. That's all you're going to need for a bit of value. I've given you heaps of value there with some surprising league leagues, your first and second bankers, quite good value there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for me now, here live in the studio, it's Axel Phillips on Every Point's a Winner. Join us very shortly, and best of luck on the weekend. Hopefully we see some sun eventually. God bless and take care. Bye for now.